The final video of 2018. This is an important one if you can't tell from the title of the video. So what happened basically about 3 months ago, Looper came home one night. It was about 8:30 at night, so 8:30 PM. When he comes to the front door, he meows. If someone hears him, obviously opens the door, lets him in, and that's what happened. I let him in, and then he walked through, and then as soon as his full body came in view from past the door, I noticed something was wrong. His back left leg was really limping. He really couldn't put pressure on it or walk, and he was going about the house really badly limping, and it was just a bit scary. I wasn't sure what happened to him, where he was, or it was about an hour later. He was all about the house, climbing, trying to go upstairs, jumping on beds, but then he got comfy, and then we noticed that he was lying on his right side, so we could see his left side, and we noticed round about his hip was like a blood splatter, like bloody hair, but it was just dried blood, and we thought something's wrong. So anyway, when we noticed that, he tried to walk again, but every time we applied pressure on his left side, on his back left leg, he was meowing. So he was in pain. So something was wrong. So by the time my mum came home that night, she saw as well and was like, "Oh my god, we need to go to the vets." So we called our vets and we found out they were closed. So they closed early that night, but the way things happen is they'll direct you to someone else. Luckily, Vets for You, I think it was in Glasgow, which isn't far from us. We went there, we got a doctor to check him out, we got tests. Well, we didn't, it was just a manual check to start off with, and he believed that it was a broken pelvis. He wasn't sure what fully caused it. So after the doctor done his tests, he recommended that we keep Looper in overnight in the hospital, not back at home, back at the hospital. So they keep him in overnight at the hospital so they can take blood tests, do x-rays, do more tests in general, just to further eliminate any possibilities of any more damage that happened. So what happened was they kept him overnight. We came back the next morning and they said we managed to get blood sample, but because of how he was reacting, just in a new place, in a new environment, not with his family, they couldn't get anything else done. He was in a bad mood, that's what they told us. He was very aggressive, so they couldn't get x-rays done, which was the important thing because that would determine and show them what actually happened. So then the next day after we brought him back, we took him to our vets. We made an appointment, an emergency appointment at our vets, took him there, we got x-rays done there. They determined that it was a broken pelvis fracture. They think it was a car. They weren't too sure because it's very hard to determine. His claws, the tip of his claws were all ruffled up. They weren't perfect, as his claws were all ruffled up at the top. We didn't know exactly why. It could have been he tried to climb up something, didn't get all the way up, so he fell down, and as normal his instincts would be to stick his claws out and try and grab onto something, then he would slide down and it would rough them all up. But we weren't too sure. Or again, he could have been hit by a car. As he got hit, he'd dig his claws out and try and stop himself from moving. That could have caused it as well, or could have been another animal, could have been chased, could have been another cat. We do have foxes around here. We live quite close to a farm. We do have cows. Only Looper knows exactly what happened. And of course, there's no way of him telling us, which is annoying because I really want to know what happened. Only he will keep the secret. So, once they took the x-rays at our normal vets, they sent them over to FLICKR, which is where we took Looper. The surgeons there had a good look at them and determined it was pretty serious, so they made an emergency appointment to bring Looper in.
Sorry, I can't do that because I can't find music on your iPhone.
So we brought Looper in, and the surgeon, Aidan, thank you so much, you're amazing Aidan. He brought Looper in, he brought him out of the box, put him on the table, and then just had a really good feel about him. This bit was amazing. Looper just stood there, completely perfect, great posture, just really majestic. So as he was pressing in on his pelvis, he didn't make a single sound of pain. He just stood there, like, do your thing, human. Aidan thought that was really impressive. He didn't make any sounds, he wasn't in any pain, he was really happy. So we made an appointment, I think it was a few days later, to come in and get his surgery. So he explained everything, what would happen. We'll allow for x-rays, we'll allow for scans, CT scans, blood, for the surgery, X amount of screws, bolts. So by the time that surgery came, we brought him in. I think it was early-ish in the morning, and it would take about 2 to 3 hours. They would call us back to let us know when the surgery was finished, and when they did, it was actually about an hour and a half later. After we saw him, they recommended they keep him in for 2 to 3 days, but after the first day, so that was pretty hard, not having Looper here. Not a nice feeling, not knowing where, you know where he is, but you don't know how he's reacting to other people, other cats, other animals in that vet's, how he's been treated. So we didn't know any of that. I'm not an emotional person, I'm really not, but I just could not stop crying. Could not stop crying because I just was not sure of what was happening. After the first day, they called us to say, could you possibly come in and take Looper back home, because he's getting really aggressive, he's getting really angry, and it's better to allow your pet to come home and relax in a stress-free environment, because that's better to help the healing process. So that's what we've done. They also told us, the doctors told us, the surgeon told us, get a big cage, one big enough for a large canine, put a comfy cover on the bottom, get a comfy bed, get his food, his water, just everything that you can fit in the cage. Has to be a massive cage so he can fit in it, because that's where he's going to spend the next 8 to 12 weeks. He cannot jump, he cannot climb. When he came home, he had a plaster, he was half naked, he was shaved, so he's half naked on his back left. His back left side was naked and he had a big plaster. Not a massive plaster, but a plaster over where the scar was. And the surgeon said, do not let him lick that plaster, because he'll try and take it off. You know how hard that is to try not to do that. It's so difficult. So this is where a lot of my time was taken up. So I was constantly in the same room with Looper, watching him at all times, making sure he does not jump, because he can't stay in the cage all the time. He gets restless, he gets active, and then when he comes out, we just had to watch him constantly. He cannot jump, climb, move fast. So if he wanted on the sofa, we'd have to slowly pick him up by the front and then put him down. And then when he tried to jump down, we'd pick him up slowly, put him back down, let him walk about, back in the cage. And then that process repeated over and over and over and over for about 12 weeks. The wound has to fully close up before the plaster can come off, and that takes about 10 to 14 days, that's what they said. So after like the 6th day, he managed to get it off. Even with us watching him constantly, he managed to take it off. So from there on, it was just, like I said, constantly watching him. Do not let him lick the wound, because the cat's saliva can be very bad for a wound. Even though it's saliva, it's supposed to heal, it can contain infection. And if infection gets into the wound, disaster. So that's one of the main reasons why I never uploaded videos, rarely, in that 3-month period. Just constantly watching him. I had no time to make videos. Even with the time I did have, even when I did have time, I was watching him. I couldn't spend 3 hours making a tutorial because I was spending 3 hours of the time I had watching Looper. So it's all this combined to make sure he gets to the end of his recovery with no problems whatsoever. So that's why I've been really inactive for the past 3 months. But now, as I'm recording this, the day before upload, the 30th of December, so he is completely back to normal. He has had previous x-rays about 8 weeks after his surgery back at the Vets for Us surgeons, and they said it is absolutely perfect. Nothing is out of place. There is only one wee tiny part that hasn't fully healed yet, but he said that's not a major problem because that part will heal gradually over time. Over the years it will combine back to normal. So he's back out of his cage now. He's been out of his cage for a few weeks, I believe. He's allowed to climb, he's allowed to jump, because he couldn't use his back left leg for quite a few months. The muscle, as Aiden checked, the surgeon Aiden, as he checked his back leg in his very last checkup about a week and a half ago, he could feel that the muscle had slightly shrunk on his back left side. So before we can let Looper out and back to being a normal cat, we need to play with him constantly. We need to let him jump, let him move about, let him just be free in the house. So over the next probably 2 weeks he's got left being in the house, then we can let him out, because in those 2 weeks he should be back to normal. The muscle will grow. This is some memorial items. So this is his name badge, or name around his neck when we first got him. When we took him out of the hospital the first time, after he got his x-rays. So this is memory right here. Looper, hopefully it focuses in alright. Looper Marshall. You see we've got some of his original fur still on it. The cone, this is what he wore for about 2 weeks, because once the plaster came off, we had to put this on to prevent him from licking it. Happy memories, sad memories, and exciting moments with this. So we're definitely going to keep this forever. He said between 2 to 4 weeks, when you feel comfortable, then we can let Looper out. So early next year, halfway through January, he should be 100% back to normal, and then I'll be back to normal, and then I'll smash out these videos that I've been dying to make and upload. So if you managed to make it to the end of this video, thank you so much. It means the world to me if you did. So again, thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic end to 2018 and an amazing start to 2019. So I'll see you all next year.